We're going to review and explore the idea of conducting FMEA, Failure Modes and Effects Analysis. FMEA may be used on new or existing products, processes, or services. It's an excellent approach to employ for finding and mitigating potential causes of failures. FMEA was first introduced in the late 1940s by the U.S. military, then adopted and modified in the early 1960s by NASA, and it is now widely used in almost every industry. We'll use FMEA to understand and prevent problems. Design FMEAs are used during process or product design to uncover problems that will result in potential failures within the new product or process. Process FMEAs are used to uncover problems with an existing process related to manpower, systems, methods, measurements, and the environment. And FMEAs are used to analyze and prioritize defects to prevent reoccurrence. Let's talk through the storyboard of conducting an FMEA. First, we'll list all of the steps or inputs to the process. We'll then list all of the potential failure modes for each step or input, and there may be more than one failure mode for each step or input. We'll list all of the potential failure effects based on each failure mode, and there may be multiple failure effects for each failure mode. We'll then give each failure mode a severity ranking, a 1 for the least severe, up through a 10 for the most severe. We'll list all of the potential causes for each failure mode, and there may be more than one potential cause for each listed failure mode. We'll then list the probability of occurrence for each of the causes, and those will be ranked from a scale of 1 for the least probability of occurrence to a 10 for the highest probability of occurrence. We'll list all of the current controls to either to detect or prevent the potential causes, and we'll give those each a score of 1 to 10 for how well we can detect or prevent the cause. 1 meaning that we can easily detect the cause, and a 10 meaning that it's not likely we'll detect the cause. The template will multiply the severity times the occurrence times the detection. That'll result in an RPN, or risk priority number, ranking every listing relative to the other listings for importance. For those with the highest RPN, we'll give those a corrective action. So let's talk through the scoring schemes for each of those categories. For severity, a 1 is the lowest level of severity. In fact, it's not severe at all. Up to a 10, which is hazardous without warning. Any ranking of a 9 or 10 should require a corrective action. For occurrence, there's 2 options. A 1 for a very remote probability of occurrence, or you can use a ratio such as 1 in 1.5 million for a probability of occurrence, up to a 10 for a very high probability of occurrence, or for a 1 in 2 chance of occurrence. For detection, we'll give it a score of 1 to 10, 1 that we can almost certainly detect it, up to a 10 where we absolute uncertainty of being able to detect it. Let's talk through a simple example of conducting FMEA. In this case, we're toasting bread. So what might be all the potential failure modes? We'll just list a couple as an example. One failure mode could be that we end up with burnt toast. The other is that it catches on fire. What are the potential failure effects for each failure mode? For burnt toast, it could be a waste of bread or bad tasting toast. For catching fire, it could be a damaged toaster, or the house could burn down. So we'll give each of these a severity ranking of 1 through 10. We gave these first 3 a ranking of 3 for a low level of severity. For the damaged toaster, we gave it a ranking of 7. We'll need to replace the toaster. If the house burns down, we gave it the highest severity ranking of a 10. So this will require corrective action regardless of the rest of the scores. For the potential causes of these failure modes, for burnt toast, we said it could be wrong setting, It could be a power surge, and then also we line those up with each of the effects. So we have wrong setting listed again. For catch fire, it could have been a defective toaster, or it could have been a bare cord. We'll give each of these a likelihood of occurrence. Now, wrong setting, we gave it a high likelihood of occurrence, while power surge, we gave it a low likelihood. And for defective toaster or bare cord, we gave those both a 4. What are our current controls, the controls we use today? For wrong setting, it's a visual control that we sometimes use. For power surge, we have no existing control. And for defective toaster or bare cord, we currently don't have a control in place. So what's our ability to detect? We gave the visual of wrong setting a detection score of 3. We'll likely be able to detect that. But a power surge, we gave it a score of a 9. We won't likely be able to detect that. And also for a defective toaster or for a bare cord, we gave those a score of a 10. We won't be able to detect those likely. So again, we multiply the severity times the occurrence times detection. The template automatically does that for you. So for the house burning down, we gave that a risk priority number of 400. We'll most certainly need corrective action for that. So the recommended action is that we'll check the cord every time before we use the toaster. And I'm the one that's responsible, and that starts today. So we added that to the work instructions for toasting toast. Once we complete the corrective action, we'll then give each of these a new score. Now, severity doesn't change because if the house burns down, it's still equally severe. But our likelihood of occurrence has gone down because now we have a work instruction for toasting bread. And our ability to detect has also dropped because we've added it to a work instruction. So now when we multiply severity times occurrence times detection, we end up with the risk priority number of 60 as opposed to our original risk priority number of 400. So that's a simple example of conducting FMEA. You have access to download complimentary Excel toolboxes containing many tools and templates used in the various types of initiatives as listed here. You can find these at valuegenerationpartners.com, then select the Downloads page to access the Excel toolboxes. I wish you much success in using proven tools and techniques to achieve your desired goals and outcomes.